Hey guys, this is post-recording pre-production Enoch here. I just realized as I'm about to edit the episode that the entire thing was filmed blurry. My camera actually never focused. So I'm not going to re-record the entire thing, I'm just going to release it. So you don't need glasses, alright? It's my bad for not seeing, I didn't see. I recorded with my phone and it was turned around, so alas, we live and we learn. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it. I know it might make your eyes water looking at it, so just listen to it. But seriously, it's a really great episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, back to the show. Have you ever set a goal that you were super excited about, only to find yourself a couple of weeks or even months later decide that, maybe I'm not going to do this anymore, and you stop working towards it? This is most likely because the goal wasn't even yours to begin with. In this episode, we're going to talk about why you fail your goals or why you don't complete them, and how you can actually set goals in a way to achieve them year after year for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's good. Hey everybody, I'm your host Enoch Fossum, and this is the Inner Revolution. If you are looking for change, if you are someone who struggles with pornography addiction, or any addiction in general, or you just want to change and become the person that you're meant to be, then you, my friend, are in the right place, and I'm glad you're here. Before we jump into the episode, I want to thank our sponsor, Anovo Counseling and Wellness. Anovo is a Utah-based clinic who specializes in, I always say who. It's a clinic, it's not a person. But anyway, they specialize in sex addiction, betrayal trauma, self-worth, couples therapy, anxiety, depression, and they do lie detection as well. And so if you are someone who is looking for a therapist and you don't know where to go, then down in the description there is a link that you can use to book a 15-minute free, I said it, free consultation. So go ahead and take advantage of those. Seriously, like no charge, for real. Book with either myself or David down below, and we'll see if we're a great fit and get you the help you need. All right, when it comes to goals, and I realize I'm a little late on this, I probably should have, let's see, I'm shitting on myself, and that's not what I like to do, but I probably should have released this a couple weeks earlier, or a couple weeks ago, when it comes to the new year, to actually, set new goals and do things like that, but alas, here we are. But when it comes to goals, okay, I really don't think that most of us fail because we're lazy, or we're unmotivated. I don't think that's it. I think we fail because we are chasing goals that aren't even ours. And we'll talk more about that. But what we call these in acceptance and commitment therapy is socially compliant goals. Okay, socially compliant goals. What this means is that you are doing something, or you want to achieve something, not because you want to do it, but because you feel like you need to. And for example, a couple examples of some socially compliant goals. So for example, your career path, right? Think about it. Is the career path you're on right now because are you there because you want to be there? Genuinely. Or are you doing this because it would look bad on your family if you didn't? Maybe they're all dentists, and so you wanted to be a dentist, and so you're 3 years into dental school. I don't know how long dental school is, 4 years? Let's say you're almost done with it, but you aren't happy, you're miserable. Or are you pursuing this career because it just makes a lot of money and it's going to make your life happy? Happy wife, happy life. Am I right? Like, what are you trying to actually achieve? Why are you on this career path? This fitness goals, classic one each year. Why are you trying to get fit? Are you doing this because you actually have a value of fitness? You value your health? You value longevity, to be here as long as you can, to see your family, to see your grandkids, your great-grandkids? Or are you doing this to look better for Sarah down the hall? Or are you doing this to try and get more action with the ladies? Another example, spiritual practices. Why do you go to church? Do you go to church and worship because it's just what your family did? And have you found yourself just miserable while you're doing this? So I think you get the idea, right? All of these, really anything that you do in life, any goals you try to achieve or just the way that you live, can be what's called socially compliant. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think that socially compliant goals are a bad thing. You can achieve a lot of good things in life if you just go about doing socially compliant things. But you will miss out on more feelings of fulfillment if you don't live socially compliant goals, or otherwise, spoiler, if you live goals based off of your own values, based off of what you want to do. You're going to feel, and you might feel now, a little maybe empty inside. Maybe you feel like you can do more. You're not feeling fulfilled, but yet you might be like making a lot of money, but you don't feel like this is where you're meant to be, or you don't have a sense of satisfaction. Now, this doesn't mean that everything that you do all the time, you need to be super satisfied and live a hunky-dory life all the time saying, wow, I'm so glad I'm working today. This is so great, yippee. It can still be hard. Life is still a grind. You can be living a value-based life and still have to go through a lot, right? And still put in the work. This doesn't mean that you don't have to put in the work, but it will make it easier if you do live a value-based life. So back to socially compliant goals. The key takeaway here for these is that these goals look good. They sound right, but they don't feel anchored. They don't feel like it's what you're actually here for. It's not what you're here to do. So goals driven by expectations, approval, and rules often tend to crumble and not last. When there's a little bit of pressure or a little bit of inconvenience, it's like, well, I'm done, right? Yeah, I'm not doing this. And I'm going to tie a couple other concepts in this episode. I want to talk about experiential avoidance. This is where we try to avoid uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and emotions in a plethora of ways, right? You name it. When you feel a certain way, when you feel uncomfortable, what do you try and do to actually avoid it? And so that is called experiential avoidance. That is something that we all experience to some degree. So here's where I want to bring this idea. Sometimes we set goals not to move towards meaning, but to move away from discomfort. For example, use that family of dentists, right? It's going to be pretty uncomfortable to have that conversation with your family, or at least so you think in your head. It's going to be uncomfortable to have that conversation saying, like, Dad, I know you're paying for my dental school, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's anxiety inducing, bro. My palms are sweating just thinking about it. I'm not even a dentist, but that would be terrifying. And so a goal that you can make to rectify that or avoid it is to go be a dentist anyway. Doesn't that feel so much better? You don't have to worry about having that conversation anymore. But alas, you know that's not true, right? It's not true. So this is where another idea comes up I want to talk about. The pain of presence versus the pain of absence. There are two different types of pain we normally feel, and we can feel these when we set goals and when we try and work towards these. So the pain of presence, these are things like anxiety, shame, fear of judgment, self-doubt, right? The uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you have in the present, like right now. Okay, whatever you're feeling. If you're feeling anxious right now because thinking about your dentist family and this is actually you and you don't want to be a dentist and you don't know what to do, that's pain of presence, okay? That can look like something along the lines of you saying, well, if I don't do this, people are going to think I'm lazy, behind, failing, no good. Like that's pain of presence happening right now. Now, how this shows up when you are actually working towards these socially compliant goals. You may feel, most likely, that something is just off, and you might have more anxiety, more shame around self-shame around yourself, right? Like, what am I doing? I'm a phony. I shouldn't even be here right now. This is not something that I want to do. It can create this pull within you. That's pain of presence. Now, pain of absence. This is the emptiness that shows up after you achieve a socially compliant goal. Or they can both be true. It can also be the pain of not living your values in the moment. Or thinking about, oh man, what would it be like if I went this route instead of the other? You have the pain of the absence of your values. If you are not living in alignment with your values and who you are as a person, then there is going to be pain. And it's either going to be pain of absence or pain of presence. And most of the time, with these socially compliant goals, I kind of brought it up earlier, right? You're probably not going to achieve them. But if in chance that you do achieve them, you might feel the sense of nothing after you achieve it. Maybe there's a little high, right? Like, woo, yippee, I did it. Maybe my family will accept me now that I'm a dentist. Or maybe my family's going to accept me now that I can run a marathon under 3 hours, whatever it is. So if you've ever asked yourself, man, I did everything I was supposed to. Why does this still feel hollow? Why don't I feel like I actually achieved something? Most likely, that is because you achieved a socially compliant goal. That is not something that you actually wanted to do. Now, does that take away the actual achievement? No. Like if you ran a marathon, not because you wanted to, but because you would get acceptance from other people, that's still a good thing, and it's still a huge achievement. But it still might leave you feeling a little empty and hollow. So you can see here, either way, no matter what you choose, if you choose pain of presence or pain of absence, if you just set a socially compliant goal and that's what you go for, the pain is unavoidable. So if you think, oh man, I'm just gonna grind through this pain, and once I achieve it, I'll be happy. Once I achieve it, I'll finally get acceptance. And you'll come to find that at the end of this, there's more pain. There's pain of absence. And is the pain of presence worth actually trudging through to get to more pain? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. So now we need to take a step back. We need to reframe some things in an ACT lens, in an acceptance and commitment therapy lens. We have the difference of goals and values. Think of values as a direction that you go towards, like heading east, okay? You can never arrive at east. I use east and west and not north and south anymore, because when I say you can never arrive at north, I then think to myself, but there's the North Pole. So then if you keep heading north, you'll eventually go south. You know what I'm saying? But east and west, I feel like it's a little different. I don't think you have that argument anymore. It's not, you don't have the East Pole. So that's why I use east. Anyway, I digress. So values is heading in that direction. It's heading east. And then goals are the destinations that you achieve along that way as you are heading towards your values, as you are living in your values. So socially compliant goals are often borrowed. They are often rigid, and they're approval-based for other people, right? Not for you. Whereas value-based goals are chosen freely. They're flexible, and they're internally motivated. You don't need anybody to push you, to motivate you, to try and go do what you want. Now, obviously that can help and be super beneficial and be great. But a socially compliant goal, a value-based goal, this is something that you choose. You chose to do this. This is something that you actually want. And so there is naturally going to be more motivation internally for you to go and do that thing. So the secret to achieving what you want, the secret to achieving goals isn't motivation. It's taking ownership of your goals, taking ownership of what you actually want to do, despite the pressures that you might feel from here or over here. Wherever it is that you're feeling this pressure, it's taking ownership and saying, hey, that is not something that I personally want to do. I want to go and do this instead. I want to go and do that. And even if socially, you know you might get a little, my man's a little sus. You might get some side eyes at you, or you might not be accepted at all. For example, in a religious community, let's say you decide to leave a religion that you've grown up in. Okay? That can cause a lot of issues. And obviously, I'm not telling you to just go leave this religion if you just feel like it. Again, it has to be value-driven. Most of the time, when people do things like leave a religion, it's just based off of, it's just inconvenient. And they've never really actually given it some thought. So, all of these take actual thought. Okay, you need to take time to understand what your values are. And come to find, is the way that you are living currently in alignment with those values? Are these goals that you're trying to achieve something because you genuinely want to, and you genuinely have this drive to accomplish it? Or are you doing this because you're looking for acceptance from somebody else, outside of yourself? You have to want it because you want it. Not because someone else gave you an idea, not because someone else told you to, not because it makes you look successful, not because it strokes your ego, but because you genuinely just want to. And you don't need a reason for that. Genuinely. You don't need to try and justify why you want to go become a therapist. You don't have to justify why you want to go climb Mount Everest. If that's what you want to do, great, go do it. But most of the time, you'll find too with socially compliant goals is we look for reasons to do it that makes you sound like heroic or really cool, right? Like, for example, why do you want to climb Mount Everest? Because I saw this one guy do it, my coworker, and he almost made it to the top, but he failed. He's actually a loser, and I want to be a winner, so I'm going to go do that. You're trying to come up with this just total BS story of why you want to go and do that. Whereas if it's value-based, it's like, I want to do that because I want to. That's what I value. That's who I am. I am all into fitness, all into health, and training to climb Mount Everest, that's one heck of a way to live that value. But there's no explanation that needs to follow a value-based goal. Now, does this mean that you are going to totally avoid pain of presence and pain of absence as you live a value-based goal instead of a socially compliant one? No, it doesn't mean that. Pain is a part of the process. But when you are living a value-based goal, your pain is now meaningful because you are working towards something that you genuinely want. And that pain is going to transform you into that person. Value-based goals also survive things that a lot of socially compliant goals don't. Things like boredom, repetition, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over again. Or fear, setbacks. All of those roadblocks that tend to pop up during goals or while you're trying to achieve these things, all these things that pop up are now more meaningful to you because you have a bigger drive to push through it. And that is when you start actually becoming the person that you want to be as you live in alignment with your values, as you head in that direction. You start becoming that person as you head towards these goals. So value-based goals are not easier. They're just worth it. Whereas socially compliant goals, I wouldn't even waste your time. So here's something to think about to try and determine, are your goals value-based or are they socially compliant? You can ask yourself a couple of questions. First, who is going to benefit if I achieve this goal? A key thing that you're going to find is a lot of these questions are going to involve other people, right? Not just you. Another question, if no one knew that I was working towards this, or if no one knew that I completed it, would I still want to do it? Or what value of mine would this express if I stayed with it long term? And so listen, if you're finding yourself in a spot where you realize, oh my gosh, my entire life has been socially compliant, it's okay. You're not alone. Most people live that way. It's all about recognizing first, right? With anything. Social compliance is learned. It's not this moral or personal failure of yourself. And so tying this all into pornography addiction, I want you to really think why you want to recover. Why do you want to stop watching porn? Is it for someone else? Is it for your wife, your family, your friends? Now remember, all of those are good. Socially compliant goals can be good because a lot of the times they're like, well, good intentions, I should say. Because it could be for like to be a better dad, to make more money, to be a better provider, all these things, right? Like it's not necessarily a bad intention. But remember, if it is socially compliant, most likely it's going to crumble. And if you do happen to achieve it, it's going to leave you with a feeling of emptiness. And you're going to question why you even did this in the first place. And so why do you want to recover? And so I challenge you to think about that and truly find a reason, and find the reason deep down to do it for yourself. And you don't need an explanation. You don't need to try and justify why you are seeking help and why you're trying to become a better person. So remember, pain is unavoidable, but not all pain is created equal. You get to choose. Do you want to make meaning from your pain? Do you want it to actually help you grow and push you in the direction of the person you want to be? Or do you want it to just be uncomfortable, just be painful, and leave you feeling hollow and unfulfilled? You get to choose that. And it's first based on identifying your values, knowing what those are, and then choosing to set goals based on those values, based on what you want, who you want to become, not what anyone else thinks that you should become, not even yourself, not what you think you should do, but what you know here. The question isn't whether a goal hurts or not. It's whether the life it builds is something worth living. Okay, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, holy cow. If you did, for real, like the video, leave a comment down below saying spaghetti monster. That way I know you made it to the very end. I'm just curious. I mean, statistics tell me most people don't. But if you do, dude, shout out to you, and thanks for the support. If you know someone that could benefit from this episode, then go ahead and share it with them. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I know I should probably say these things in the beginning of the episode, but gotta get it in where you can. Totally forgot. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Talk to you next week.